In today's video, we're going to emulate a daily workload for somebody who works Office 365 administration. So that way you can get a really good idea of what to expect on these types of jobs. Now, this is just the first part of it. There are other workloads we can talk about, and that's going to be in the future videos. But for today, we're going to concentrate on this workload that we need to complete, which was ordered to us by our superiors. Let's get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Irvin, also known as Kobu Man. Today we're going to continue with our Office 365 series. Make sure if you haven't watched previous videos, which is first 3 parts of this series, make sure you go back and watch them because everything ties into this. Today's session is going to be very similar to the other ones, where we are basically working the system as if you were somebody who got hired to do this. Here is our work order. We got to assign roles. We got roles to assign and set up. And for the first part of it, we got a new hire named Murta Noyan. We need to set him up as a printer administrator because they are now local tech support. They got hired to be a local tech support at that location. We also got to give them a role of Teams device admin. Second part is going to be a role assignment for billing administrator to a finance manager. And then we're going to have a new hire that we need to create, which is for a person named Tracy Moore. And we need to give them a global reader because they got assigned to work as Help Desk Tier 2 representative. And then we got Larry Bird, he got promoted to help desk manager, and we got to make those changes as well. So there is quite a bit to talk about here. However, I'm going to stick to the part where you are actually doing this as somebody who is going to work this job and explain it to you in such a way where it makes sense. This is a real life type of scenario where you would come to work and they give you assignment and they say you got to do this job, so get to it basically. You know what I mean? We got to work, guys. We got to work. All right, so we're going to set up a new hire first. Oh yeah, before I forget, please in the comments below just say hello, hi, or present, just to let me know that you are here and watching, sort of like in the classroom, you know. Okay, all right, let's get to it. Thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate it. So we got to set up a new hire, right? That's the first thing. And it's Murta Noyan. So we're going to do most of these things from Microsoft 365 Admin Center, but we will go to Azure because I want to show you some things that are related to printers later on. So we're going to do this from Microsoft 365 Admin Center. We're going to set up a user. We're just going to click user here, and we're going to type in Murta Noyan. By the way, these names are from my help desk videos, which by the way will be available on the next session. Right now I'm taking turns. I'm making Office 365 and the next one is going to be help desk. So we have done this before in previous videos where we create new users. It's very simple, so I'm just going to fly through it. You know, you set up first name, last name, their display name, their username. Make sure it's not taken up by somebody else, and it's not, otherwise it would be an error. Set up a simple password for them and leave this checked where it says require user to change their password, so they can change the password. If you want to send the password to yourself so you can forward to somebody else, you can do that too. So if you want to do that, then click here, make sure this is checked. Otherwise, just tell them what it is, click next. We're going to just assign them a standard license that everybody else gets, in this case Microsoft 365 A3 for faculty. We're going to click next, and through here you can see we can set up roles, and we're certainly going to do that. We have a couple of roles we can set up, and there are 2 different ways of doing it. We're going to set up printer admin through here. So we're going to assign that role through here, through roles, which is right here while we are creating the account. You can do all this while you're creating the account, and that's probably the best way to do it in my opinion. However, you can also do it through the roles tab, and I'll show you this. We're going to set up printer admin through here, and then Teams device admin, we're going to set it up through the roles tab. Okay, so let's set up the first one, which is going to be the, printer admin. I'm going to expand roles. So if you just click on expand roles, you have to click admin center access. Okay, and then scroll down, and then we're going to look for printers, where is it? Printer administrator. So it's under devices here. Printer administrator. So what does printer administrator do? You get to manage network printers and connectors, configure printer access and preferences, manages printer status in queues, and accepts admin consent permissions. So basically you get full control of the printers. This is a full admin control of the printers. Now these printers are universal print printers, meaning that they are connected to Azure cloud, not necessarily Azure Active Directory, but Azure cloud, and I will show you this. So what is this about? This universal print is about being able to access printers anywhere in the world, basically. So let's say you are a mobile worker, or I should say remote worker. I think that's the popular name now. If you're a remote worker and you're going from one place to another, you can literally go to a coffee shop, connect to the VPN, or not even the VPN. I mean, I guess if you have to, you connect to the VPN. But anyways, you would log into your Microsoft Office 365 account, and you from there, if you needed to print something, you can print over the cloud to that printer that is set up. You see how this is tied in? This person that got hired is a local tech support that's going to have direct access to that printer. Universal print is going to be something that users can use, so that way they can print to that printer from anywhere in the world. Okay, so we got to give this new user Murta needs to have access to printer administration so that he can manage these printers, so he can add them, test them, whatever he needs to do, because he's local tech support and he's got direct access to that printer. Now there is an option here for printer technician, but as you can see here, printer technician can only register and unregister printers and update printer statuses. They cannot manage network printers and connectors. They cannot configure printers access and preferences, this and that, and all this other stuff, right? So we need to give them full printer administrator access. Okay, so we're going to close this. Okay, we're going to go further down because we need to add profile info. Okay, so we're done with the roles here, but we're gonna add profile, and we're gonna give them a title of whatever your manager tells you, whatever HR tells you the title is. But in this case, we're gonna say tech support analyst, department IT. I'm gonna type in local tech support in parentheses, office. We're gonna come up with the office number. Let's just say 6500. Phone number, that's good enough for me. But again, whatever they give you, this is what you would be filling out. Street address, where is this on-site location? So let's come up with a number. I don't know, address I should say. We're gonna say Fresca, 8900 Fresca Lane. Why not? City, New York. New York, I gotta spell out New York as in city, New York as in state, zip code. I don't know any of those zip codes, but again, you're gonna make sure that you fill out this correct information while you're doing this job, because this is definitely your job. So all I did was click next, and we're done here. We're gonna click finish adding. We're gonna select close. All right, so now we're gonna set up. Now we're going to set up the Teams device admin, but before we do that, we have to make sure that universal print is enabled and working. Now, this is how you would do it. Let's pick just a random person. Here is Abigail Adams. Matter of fact, let's do somebody, Mike Moser. Mike Moser. And we're going to select Mike Moser here, and then we're going to make sure that he's got a license to use universal print. So where would you go to this? Well, of course, where it says licenses and apps, we're going to scroll down. We're going to expand this where it says apps on the bottom. We're going to expand this, and we're going to look for universal print and make sure it's enabled. Universal print. There it is. It's enabled for him, so that's great. This is just for Mike Moser, a user, to be able to use universal print. This is an extra, this is a license that you have to pay extra to use per user. Okay, so this is just for user to be able to use universal print, so they can use printing function anywhere and print over the cloud. So what is the thing that we've just installed? This printer admin thing. Well, it's for Universal Print, but it's actually located in Azure Cloud. So let's go to Azure Active Directory. And notice this is Active Directory. This is not the same Azure, what I'm talking about. This is Azure Active Directory Admin Center. What we're looking for is just straight up Azure. So what I'm going to do is going to delete this. So it's a different URL to set up printers. I'm going to delete all of this. And I'm just going to go to portal.azure.com. And from here, if we click on this hamburger sign, we can see that we got all different things, including virtual machines, other stuff that's related to cloud computing. And this is where Universal Print is set up. Now, don't be scared. Don't be scared. I know this is technically outside of Office 365 and Office 365 Azure Active Directory, right? So, although technically Azure Active Directory is separate from Office 365 in a sense too, but it's okay. I don't want to confuse. This is different Azure, but it's okay. It's very simple. So we're going to look for Universal Print and see what we can do. And well, there it is. Recent services. I went in and looked for Universal Print, but you can just type in Universal Print and look for it. And so once we select this, we can manage printers from here. So I don't have any set up right now. This function only works on Windows 10 and up. I believe I don't think this is going to work on Windows 7, Windows 8, and whatever other versions they have. I think 8.1 or something like that. And this type of Universal Print is supported with specific printers, but you can also download this thing called Download a Connector that allows you to connect printers that don't even have a built-in support for Universal Print. So this is something you can set up. And from here, you can manage printers. Right now, we don't have any, and I don't even have a license for it, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. I don't have any printers installed anyways. But this is what, in this case, Murta would be doing. You know, Murta would be managing these things, and that's fine. He would control printer shares, connectors, and all of that. He or she, I'm not sure. I apologize. But either way, you know, gentleman or a lady, whoever's hired to do this will be able to manage this. And let me see. I just want to make sure that everything else is set up when it comes to printer and that I've talked about everything. Okay, I think that's that. Again, just make sure that people who are using, if somebody comes to you and says, I can't use a Universal Print, just go in here. Let's see if Abigail has access. We're going to go to Abigail, Licenses and Apps. We're going to expand the apps. Okay, see how we made restrictions to Abigail because she's part of our deployment team. She doesn't have access to Universal Print. But if we want to make sure that it's working for her, we're going to make sure it's checked like this and save changes. And now Abigail can use Universal Print. All is great. All right. So now we need to set up Teams device administration and assign it to Murta. Why? Well, I'll show you. Let's first assign this role. So again, we could have done it when we were setting up the account, but from here, we're just going to do it through our roles tab. Roles tab, is it here? There it is, up here. And you have to expand it. If it's not visible, you have to expand it, this group, this column, so it shows more options. But if you don't see it, just click down there and you'll expand it. So here's roles. Click on roles, and then we've got role assignments. So click on role assignments, right? You can do it from here. So what is it again? Teams device admin. We're going to type in Teams device administrator. Here it is, Teams device administrator. So you guessed it, we're going to just click on that, and then we're going to click on assigned, and then we're going to click add users, and then we're going to add the person we've just created, which is Murta. Here we go, select that, and then add. Now Murta can control Teams devices inside of Teams. So let's talk about that. What are these Teams devices? What is this? So these are physical devices that you can control and do changes. Well, these are. Let's check it out. So let's go to Teams. Here is our Teams. It's loading. And once we load, we're going to make sure that we see this left column here. If you click on the little hamburger icon, and we're going to go to Teams devices. Teams, in case you don't know what Teams is, basically a place where people can collaborate, sort of like a Discord chat with a lot of other functions. Part of that is controlling devices that are set up in, for example, a conference room, or any devices that are set up in a building on site. Remember, we hired that person to be on-site tech support. So if we expand Teams devices, we can see some things that we can control. For example, here is an example of Teams rooms on Windows. Teams rooms on Windows. And it says here, control and manage Teams rooms and Windows devices such as consoles, microphones, cameras, displays in your organization. You can configure settings, view activity information, manage updates, set up alert rules, and perform diagnostics to help with troubleshooting. So this is kind of self-explanatory. Imagine a conference room or just a room or any devices that are connected in the building. Some devices, for example, company I work for, we have TVs that are every corner of the room. You know, you can imagine it's a big office with a bunch of cubicles. And of course, conference rooms. And if you want to control consoles, microphones, cameras, and displays in your organizations, this is where you would be able to do it. And then we got things, for example, Teams rooms on Android. This is just controlled on devices. So when somebody logs in with their Teams on their team, because you can install Teams on your Android or iOS, you can install Teams and you can control some, aspects of that. Then we've got, for example, Surface Hubs. Surface Hubs offer an all-in-one digital whiteboard meeting platforms and collaborative computing experience. So it's just another device that's used in meetings and such. And then we've got panels. We all know that what panels are. Just a device is mounted outside of conference room, typically next to room entrances. They show room availability, room name, and reservations. So let's say, room is, whatever the status is for that room, you can be able to display that on there. And then, of course, we got phones, and then we got regular displays, and then we got SIP devices. All right, so let's kind of click on Store just to kind of show you an example of which devices are supported. And here you can see there are a bunch of things you can control, right? And here's, for example, categories for headsets. Here's web cameras, speaker phones, desk phones, and Teams displays, right? Here are the phones. You can control all of these things through here once they're installed and configured. Here are some displays that you can control. Here's, for example, like video conferencing monitor, and here's Teams rooms devices. And here it is, the whole media room kit you can control, which is cameras, speakers, all kinds of different things. It's really cool if your company decides to use this, You can see that it's typical conference room type of stuff. And accessories, all kinds of different stuff. So that's the whole point of assigning Teams device admin to local tech support so they can control this type of stuff. All right, now let's continue our work. We've done the first part here. This is all done. We've set up Murta. This is all set up and ready to go. Now, why didn't we add more stuff to it? Because we haven't been told to do so. As simple as that. If Murta's manager wants me to give him more administrative privileges, that's going to happen. But never give him things that you're not instructed to do. As far as we know, Murta is only going to get domain administrator privileges for that location, and that's it. And we don't want to give them other administration privileges in Office 365. Why? Because that's my job. You know what I mean? That's your job. You don't want them to do your job, and that's just not how things work, right? You have your job, and he's a local tech support. He won't have time to do Office administration, Office 365 administration anyways. Okay, so what's going on here? I'm having trouble. Oh, it is. I had to do a refresh. So we're going to change finance manager. So finance manager, you're going to have to find out who a finance manager is. In my case, I already know who finance manager is, but we're going to have to assign him a role of billing administrator. So let's look for Sally Moe. She is a finance manager. So if I select her, then we can see the roles that she has right here, right? So this is another place where we can start to manage roles. So our job is to change her role and give her a billing admin role. Looks like this was already done, right? Looks like this was already done, so that's great. So what is a billing administrator? What can a billing administrator do? Well, it's kind of self-explanatory. Well, let me show you. We can look this up, but if we decided to change the roles, we can select manage roles right here and then do the same thing that we've talked about before. So here's billing administrator, and you can see make purchases, manage subscriptions, manage services requests, and monitor service health. So she already has this set up, but we could have made that change to the roles where we were just at. So we're good to go, and this can happen sometimes. Somebody else who is working Office 365 administration may have done this. Somebody who works before you, you know, whoever is on, for example, first shift, let's say you're second shift, or there's just another person that does Office 365 and they've completed this work. It's a good way to check to see if this was already done. All right, so let's go to roles. Again, if you want to see everything that's in this column, select show all, go to roles, role assignments, and then we're going to look for a billing administrator. Here it is. Select billing administrator, and then we're going to click assigned to see who is assigned to it. And here it is, Sally Moe. So this is just another way of making sure that this is done. I like how it carries over this last sign-in information, and it tells you when the last time they signed in. So that's cool. We're done with the second part. All right, and then we got a new hire, Tracy Moore. So let's set up Tracy Moore. Again, we're going to go to active users. We're going to add a user. We're going to say Tracy Moore. Again, you can do this from Azure Active Directory if you really wanted to. Tracy is also a real person that submits ticket to my help desk videos, so that way I can create more help desk videos. Hint, hint. So I decided to use her as a person that is working for this fictitious company. Okay, so we've done the same thing as we've done for the previous new user. Okay, we're going to assign a license, and then from here, let's see here. Yep, this is good. And we're going to click next, roles. We're going to assign a role through here right away, and the role is Global Reader, and she is going to be Help Desk Tier 2. So we're going to click Admin Center Access, and here is Global Reader right there. Now, Global Reader can view all administrative features and settings in all Admin Center. So why do we need to give her this? Because she's going to be Help Desk Tier 2, and Help Desk Tier 2, it's good for them to at least be able to view all administrative features and settings in all admin. So they can read all this information that is available through the Admin Center. Okay, which is very important for Help Desk Tier 2 to troubleshoot things. Even if Help Desk doesn't have access to Microsoft 365 Admin Center, this is possible. I mean, it depends on the company. If you work Help Desk, you may have access to Microsoft 365 Admin Center, but it's kind of a lower chance because, you know, this is more of advanced quote-unquote system, and they don't necessarily want Help Desk to have access to this. But maybe Tier 2, maybe. In this case, we're playing it safe. We're just given a read rule, We're just gonna let him in. We're just gonna let Tracy be able to read the settings because Tracy is an advanced user, advanced employee, I should say. All right, then we're gonna go to profile info, and we're gonna have to say, we're gonna just type in title. We're gonna say help desk analyst tier 2 department help desk, and we're going to, we're gonna type in just remote here. We're gonna do remote. We're gonna pretend that she's working remote. So we're just gonna, for office location, we're just gonna leave that remote. Address, we're just gonna say remote as well. And we're going to leave all of this other stuff empty because it's remote, and we don't necessarily need to put her home address in here. You know what I mean? This is just for like actual on-site office building that belongs to the company. I mean, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, some off chance maybe employer wants this information, but I not usually. And then office number, you do want the office number. And usually it will be something like this. If it's a help desk, it will be like 1-800-555-5555 or something like that. That's what usually is office when it help desk type of. And I don't know, there might be let's say option 2 for tier 2 or something. We're gonna click next, and let's see what else do we need. I'm pretty sure that we've done. It's okay to check your notes again. Global reader, help desk tier 2. Okay, profile info. Can we set up? What am I missing here? Help desk, profile info. Can we set up a manager here? No, we can't. That's okay. We're going to come back to this. We're going to click next. We're going to click finish adding. Okay, she's all set up. And then we're going to have to come back to her to set up, to tell on her profile to assign a manager to her, to basically identify her manager. In this case, Larry Bird got promoted to help desk manager. So let's find Larry. Here's Larry here, but let's do a search. Larry. So here's Larry Bird. We're going to click on him, and immediately if you scroll down on the first tab under the account, you can see under the manager that he's got Sally Moe as his manager, which is fine. Sally Moe is a finance manager, but she's also a senior manager. So it's kind of normal to have a manager above a manager in a hierarchy, which is fine. So we're going to leave that as it is. He got promoted to a help desk manager, which is under Sally. She is his manager still. Okay. However, we're going to have to manage some things. We're going to have to change some things. Remember how we added a global reader? We're going to give him global reader as well because he's help desk. So we're going to manage roles to here. We're going to click manage roles right next to here, right here where it says manage roles. And we're going to click admin center. We're going to give him global reader. We're still not going to give him global administrator because we don't necessarily need to give him that because he's a manager. He's not going to work the system necessarily. He's got people that will work the system. So we're going to click save changes. Now he can read things if he really wanted to go in. However, we need to change his title. We need to change his title to update to make sure that people know that he is the new help desk manager. And this is actually done right here where it says manage contact information, which I kind of wish it was worded differently. Otherwise, people might miss it, but it's right here. So scroll all the way down under phone number, select manage contact information. You see how it pulls up this other information that we actually use, which is really weird. So that's okay. It is there. It is what it is. Just kind of remember that it's there. Job title, help desk manager. Help desk manager, department, help desk / finance, because he's still going to do some stuff in finance because Sally Moe is his finance manager. And he doesn't have an address here. We probably should fill this out. I think I used 4500 Happy Lane where Sally is. So let's fill this out real quick. This is part of your job. And this is what I actually had. So, and this is his office number, like actual office room number, which I don't know, let's say 6500 as well. New York, New York. Okay, so this is your job. Save changes. Okay, so now he's got a title of help desk manager, which is great. This should show up in the system and in things like Teams and everything else, which is great. Now remember, we need to change something else here because we hired Tracy Moore as a help desk tier 2. We got to make sure that she has a manager assigned to her. Okay, and we're going to go to active users. Uncheck this. Come on. F5. I have to refresh. That's okay. And Tracy Moore, where's Tracy? Tracy Moore. And we're going to scroll down and we're going to add a manager. And then we're going to find Larry. There he is. Larry, good old Larry. All right. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Today's work is done. We have completed our work order, if you will. This might be your whole day that you do. I mean, depends how fast you work, and that's great. So if you happen to be a Microsoft 365 administrator, this might be all the work that you do for today, or you may have twice as much work. But that's okay. Repetition is the key, and if you are following along, then you'll be able to do all these things once you follow along these videos. So if you have to go back and rewatch what I did, then I encourage you to do that if you want to be decent at least. You don't have to be perfect at Office 365, but these are some of the daily things that you will be doing, and it's very important that you get some practice out of it, especially if you're going for an interview for a job that says you got to have Office 365 experience. So what are they talking about? They're talking about exactly this, you using Office 365. They don't necessarily need you to tell them how to configure Office 365 for the whole company. You know, they don't necessarily need you to do all that, but, read the job description, this and that, to see if this is exactly what they need. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.